Hello, my name is Doug Coombs, Chief Marketing Officer here at SIAA, and I'd like to welcome you to Insurance Agents Talk Shop. Our approach today is a little different from normal, and I will have no guest joining me. I'm going to use our time to take stock of where we are as an industry and where we're headed in the near term. I also want to get a sense for where we are individually. And really, I'm going to take the Socratic method or approach to today's podcast and ask a lot of questions. What I'm trying to do is get you to think about your business and how you can create more success as we go forward and into 2024. Let's face it, 2023 was not the easiest of years for the insurance industry or insurance agents, and that's probably a slight understatement. We knew going into 2023 that we were experiencing a hard market, but it got very hard. And let's face it, again, 2024 is going to be another challenging year in terms of premium rates, company appetites, commission squeezes, etc. And so as we think about that, I'm hoping that we might see some softening of the market by the time we get into the second half of the year, but that's certainly influenced by my congenial and optimistic personality. So, being a little more reality-based, and as we head toward the end of 2023, let's think about what you've done to adjust to the current market and plan for 2024. And I'm asking this because I'm going to suggest some areas that you might take a look at if you haven't already. And by the way, much of the content I'll discuss on today's episode comes from various subject matter experts we have at SIAA, as well as a few with whom we do business. So let's start down the path of asking a few questions of ourselves. How many of you are still conducting business using paper? I don't advocate the complete elimination of paper as some do, but let's be honest, it's far more efficient and in the end, for a bit more cost effective to conduct business electronically than it is with paper. And it's not just the insurance industry I'm talking about. There are many industries that no longer transact business using paper. And actually, I'm thinking about the last time I was at the doctor's office. In fact, I was at urgent care about a week ago because I have whatever this latest respiratory virus is going around. And I noticed that I didn't touch any paper while I was there, other than my discharge instructions. Well, heck, even Walmart these days, which, by the way, still won't let me use my Google Pay or Google Wallet to pay for my purchase. I mean, that's a subject for another day. But they ask me if I want my receipt electronically or printed. So yeah, if you think you're still, or if you are still conducting the majority of your business using paper, it's time to rethink it. Now, along those lines, let's talk for a moment about whether or not you've considered your tech stack recently. What systems are you using in your agency? I presume you have an agency management system, and perhaps it's time to consider a customer relationship management system or CRM as well, because that could be a huge help in your marketing and sales endeavors. Are you using electronic signature software? And one more note for this one. If you have a website, you darn well should. If it looks like it was built in 2001, it's time to update it. First impressions matter, and that applies to your online real estate as much as it does your brick and mortar establishment. I think you get the gist of where I'm going with this. A series of questions to help you think through what should you focus on as you prepare and enter 2024. Now, next question. Have you started selling commercial lines insurance? I mean, really selling commercial lines. It's time to put in the effort to diversify your book of business. If 2023 has taught us nothing else, it certainly has shown the danger of putting all your eggs in the personal lines basket during a hard market. Now, there are many resources out there for producers and insurance agents to utilize to learn the commercial lines business. Heck, just look up Premier Strategy Box at mystrategybox.com, and Mick Hunt's team will get your agency going with commercial lines. If you're looking to make it even more basic, WebCE offers commercial lines courses as well. And don't forget, a number of carriers offer commercial lines training as part of their ongoing offering. The resources are there, but you will have to avail yourself of them in order to make them work. So, following on the heels of that, have you thought about establishing a niche for your insurance agency? A niche market, a specific market that you'd enjoy working in, as well as which carriers are writing. Now, that's a simple statement, as well as which carriers are writing, but it's huge. Do you have access to companies that are writing the business you're going after or you want to go after? If not, don't bother going after that business. You need to check that box always. If carriers want to write it, then feel free to give it a shot. And I'll add the caveat, going back to my previous statement, try to avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. And by that, I mean, if you're going to go into a niche market, don't let that be the only market to which you sell. Because if that goes down, you know what that means in terms of the revenue generation for your own insurance agency. Now, are you communicating with your existing clients? You should be. And if you are, how are you doing it? Email, social media, blogs, video, podcasts? These are all ways to communicate with your clients now and in the future. In fact, a good many of your peers are using video to make presentations on proposed coverages. The anecdotal general perception is that these are well received by clients because they are impactful and considerate of people's calendars or time. So I would urge you, when you think about how you are communicating with your clients and even with your prospective clients, that you're thinking about their time, how they want to receive the message. Do they want video? Do they want to read it? And they may want all of these things that I'm talking about, which means that you would have to have a multifaceted communication plan. Now, don't start with all of them, but you start with one and you build on it. That communication is critical, especially in the kind of market we're navigating today. Next question. Are you utilizing non-admitted insurance markets, also known as surplus lines? Admittedly, there are some risks in using them widely, such as the lack of state guarantee fund protection, which is a bit like Depositors Insurance Fund for Massachusetts state chartered banks, but that's a discussion for another day. Just trying to give you a sense for how a non-admitted market provider may involve a bit more risk, but they can serve a purpose when you can't meet a client's needs through conventional carriers. And today's hard market is a pretty good example of how hard it can be to use those admitted carriers. I'm not suggesting or advocating for non-admitted, but I am advocating for you to give it consideration. Okay, taking a little deep, relaxing breath here because it's not my intention to pepper you with a bunch of questions. Rather, it's time to take stock of what you did in 2023, how you performed, and what you can do, what you might do, what you should do in 2024 to improve on it. Part of that, I believe, is asking yourself what you want your agency to be going forward. If that's something you've already faced, then great. How are you progressing toward that goal? If you haven't really asked the question, it's high time you do. We asked that question here at SIA this year in the form of a fairly large project I worked on myself, which was evolving the SIAA brand. And that's what we're talking about. What's your agency brand? And it's a bit of work, but it's so worth it. We ask questions of staff and other stakeholders about what SIAA is and what it should be in the future. What do we do well, and what do we need to improve upon in order to grow? Most importantly, I think you should ask yourself what you do that makes you the agency you are, or the agency you want to be. What is your higher purpose for existing? Sounds a little altruistic, maybe, but I do realize that we're all in business to make money, to make a living. But why should a potential client do business with you and not the agency down the street or above you on the search results page on Google? If you can identify and clearly define that, that's a big step down the path of determining the answers to a lot of the questions I've already asked today. If nothing else, it will help you to prioritize tasks and tactics as you answer those questions. So, an additional area I would like to touch base on is the hot technology topic for 2023, artificial intelligence, or AI. There were a couple of sessions about AI on the IA Evolve conference this year. There have been articles written not just by affiliates or areas of SIAA, but across the industry. Everyone is talking about AI. As a matter of fact, almost to the extent where probably most of you are tired of hearing about it, but you can't be. There are many components to AI and how it will be used in the future, but it's actually used in several forms now. And in fact, here at SIAA, we're currently going through a process of selecting a new marketing automation system. And this will tie to a number of systems across our organization, including our CRM, websites, social media pages, etc. One of the questions we're asking potential vendors is, how are you using AI to make your system better? Now, there are some simple components to this, such as using AI to create copy for emails, and that would be included in the marketing automation system. But there are more involved uses of AI as well, such as generative content and predictive modeling. In other words, what is the anticipated interaction of someone who has visited our website a number of times and also subscribes to our newsletter? And that's the kind of artificial intelligence that will help us become more productive as we start to understand or better understand the behavior of site visitors or people interacting with our communications or interacting with our social media posts. These are these insights that AI can provide and will provide on a larger scale going forward, become part of helping you succeed, part of helping us succeed. And so that's why we keep asking that question. Now, I don't anticipate that agency owners should become experts in the field of AI, but it does make sense to have a basic understanding of how it is being used or could be used in various systems within your agency. Now, as a really down-to-earth example, earlier this year, I had a deadline for an article that snuck up on me, and I didn't have the time to write the piece from scratch. So guess what? I used ChatGPT to write the first pass for me. I made fairly extensive edits, but it was a huge time saver. You owe it to yourself to check it out for blog posts, newsletter articles, email copy. It could really simplify your process, save you some time, make you more efficient. These are just tools. Technology is just a set of tools and systems that enable you to perform better as the human component to doing business. So there's a lot more that we could cover here today, but I realize I've taken up enough time with my voice. So let's agree to this. Take a look at what you proactively accomplished in 2023, and then take a look at what you've done reactively, because let's face it, we don't ever have all the bases covered, especially in a market and economy like we experienced this year, 2023. With those items in mind, the proactive and the reactive actions you took, what do you need to do in order to thrive in 2024? I know. I realize a number of you are thinking, I just want to make it through this hard market. But that isn't, nor can it be, the end of it. How do you position yourself to be ready to take off when the market does start to turn around? You need to start with those things now in order to be ready when the time comes. In many ways, it's really about understanding or having a sense of urgency. And I think about the changes in the approach to how we do business as insurance agents during COVID. Think about how little we used online or virtual meetings, presentations, communications, and then we were forced to do so. Video was used a lot more while we were experiencing COVID than it did beforehand, and it's continued on. There are things tools, systems that came into play as a result of that health scare, that, well, not just a scare, but that health situation that hit our country and hit everybody in terms of how they do business, and we adapted. Now, I realize not everybody adapted to those tools, but a huge number, a huge percentage had to. And if you can carry that same sense of urgency into how you predict or how you prepare for your own future, then I think that some of the things that I'm asking about today start to become more applicable as you think about how you can actually move forward, knowing that times have changed, obviously, that the world does business a little bit differently, that the generations coming after the boomers want to do business with these newer, they're not so new anymore, folks. I guess I'm dating myself. But these approaches to interacting, to doing business that are less time consuming, more digital in nature. We all know that. But as you think about that, if you adopt it as it's not an option, but rather a means for survival, a means for you to evolve as you do business, then I think that you will take them and be able to prioritize them in terms of what will be the steps, the process that your agency can take in terms of implementing a tech stack, implementing technology, implementing a digital approach. You know, I'm reminded that decades ago, and now I really am dating myself, decades ago, the marketer's dream was always that one-to-one option, being able to market one-to-one to potential clients or to cross-sell to existing clients. And it was very difficult to do because everything was done on, it was either print or it was advertising on radio or TV, and that's something that was out of reach of most small business owners. And then today we're in a world where technology has made it possible to do just that. But it seems like we have this hesitancy to move forward with this technology in terms of truly executing on it. And I've seen a number of agencies, heard from a number of agencies, listened to a number of panel discussions with agencies that have adopted this technology that are doing very well. And I would suggest that if you take the time to plan for and I won't say cautious approach, but a plan for a metered approach to upping your game, because that doesn't mean you haven't adopted technology at all. I don't mean to imply that, but rather if you can use technology to up your game, then you are going to become more efficient. I think you're going to drive more revenue, and simply because it's a numbers game at that point. And so you will succeed where others will not. And 2024 may feel like it's the wrong time to do that because you're struggling in this hard market. But I would suggest that actually it's quite the opposite, that this is the time to do it. This is the time to become more efficient. This is the time to do business in a manner in which your clients and prospective clients want to do business. And it makes you more appealing, I believe, to the carriers with whom you are going to write the business. They see you making these kinds of efforts, they're going to make that move toward you as well. And I know that might sound like fantasy land, but if you're maintaining those relationships with your carrier reps, and they see what you're doing in terms of the implementation of technology, in terms of utilizing the latest and greatest, and it doesn't have to be all at once, but rather on a planned, metered approach, then I think that bodes well for you going beyond the current hard market, right? The benefits that you will reap after we get through this hard market will be 2, 3, 4-fold, as opposed to if you just batten down the hatches and wait until we're done with this market and then attempt to implement a true technology plan. So I am done asking questions or offering my opinions for today. I hope that some of what I've talked about resonates with you. Really, what I truly hope is that you'll just take the time to give consideration to where you can take your agency if you really think about it from a digital/technology perspective. And with that in mind, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Insurance Agents Talk Shop today. I really do hope I've managed to at least get some thoughts and ideas churning. I am Doug Coombs, Chief Marketing Officer at SIAA. And to learn more about SIAA, the Agent Alliance, please visit SIAA.com. If you enjoyed today's episode of Insurance Agents Talk Shop, please subscribe to our podcast. And I look forward to seeing you in 2024. Be well, everyone. Thank you.